Good morning, Michigan. A very pleasant Monday to you. The morning after the night before the lone gubernatorial debate. We're with Kyle Melinn from MERS News, analyzing the debate audio and touching base with you. And if we can, just for a minute here, I want to bring in the Republican Party Chair, Ron Weiser, who obviously was watching the debate yesterday. It was nice to see you at the Michigan State game. You had an awfully nice tailgate party there just outside the stadium, sir.
Well, thank you. You, unfortunately, as Winston Churchill said, in victory, you deserve it, and Michigan State deserved it. In defeat, we needed a little imbibing after the game.
Well, it was well done, and boy, that Michigan State game, I saw so many people down. I know when you have 113,000, you're going to have a lot of well-known people, right? And that's what the stadium had. But politically speaking, I saw Mike Bishop, Terry Lynn Land, obviously the athletic director David Brandon, Joel Ferguson and Melanie Foster from the MSU Board of Trustees. Jim Hoffa was in the stadium, and with Bill Black and Trish Laporte from Dublin Square, and Andrea Fisher-Newman at your party, and Judge and Nancy McKeague were there, and Bill Schuette. Rick Snyder spent a lot of time shaking hands before and after the game, and Brian Calley. Kathy Schembechler was there, and Senator Alan Sanborn, and Sarah Hubbard, and Mary Sue Coleman, Kelly Dean, etc. Mike Lindley from Huntington Bank. Congressman John Dingell was there shaking hands, too. So it was a football game, and a political event seemed to break out, huh?
Yeah, well, we had many of those people stepped off at our tailgate, and it ended up being a political tailgate rather than a... It certainly wasn't a victory tailgate for the Michigan fans.
Yeah, well, you handled it well. And what about last night? Was that a victory for your candidate, Rick Snyder, you think?
Oh, absolutely. If you've seen some of the post-debate polling that's been done, it appears that he won that thing 2-1. But forgetting that, I don't think that's what was important. What was important is that he continued to talk about what he's talking about since the beginning of the election. He talked about his vision for the state and what his strategy was and what his tactics would be and how he'd execute, and that's what it's all about. He didn't spend a moment attacking his opponent. As a fact, he complimented his opponent, and I'm afraid Mr. Bernero spent a good deal of his time spending was why people shouldn't vote for Rick instead of why they should vote for him, other than the fact that he was mayor of Lansing.
Kyle Melinn is with us from MERS News, and MERS News reported the response of your counterpart, Democrat Party Chair Mark Brewer. What did he say, Kyle, about the debate yesterday?
Oh, well, it was an absolute victory for Verge Bernero, according to Mark Brewer. He exposed a new piece of outsourcing from the chief executive outsourcer, Rick Snyder, of course. He
even went so far as to say that he felt that he couldn't decide who was a worse debater, Rick Snyder or Dick DeVos. He said they're both terrible debaters. What's your reaction to your counterpart?
Well, I'll tell you, if who's the best debater, assuming that really is true, is what we should choose our next governor on, I think we got a real problem in Michigan. I think we're looking for somebody who's got vision, who's got a plan, who develops strategies and tactics and executes, not somebody who can come up with cute little quips or can attack a little bit better. That's not how you run government anyhow. So I'm not quite so sure why he's focused on this debate, other than the fact there's a little desperate problem there of being 20 points behind, and you're looking for anything you can.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the chat this morning. I know we'll be talking soon. We are only now 22 days till the general election.
Yeah, well, I think that the voters got their chance to look at both of them, and my guess is when you see the next poll, you'll see Rick Snyder up even more, not any further behind.
Okay, we'll talk when that happens. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. Ron Weiser, the chairman of the Michigan Republican Party. Now let's get to the rebuttal. We were talking about the global marketplace. Here's what happened next in the debate.
The truth of the matter is that the economic development that Mr. Snyder engages in is primarily for himself and his friends and his pocketbook. Another company that he lists on his website is one that he promoted, Handy Lab, just recently was sold. And it was sold to you, I think, for the price of about $275 million. I don't know how much of that you pocketed from personally, but 50 people are now unemployed in Ann Arbor because those jobs are going to another state. Meanwhile, I just won a medical technology company, Symmetry Medical, in Lansing. So I'm fighting and winning. I'm fighting for my people. I'm fighting for residents of the state. He's fighting for his own pocketbook. And at Gateway, you signed off on those documents. Look the folks in the face. Look the Michigan residents in the face and tell them that you didn't sign those documents to the SEC, Rick, that you didn't sign off on them, and you were responsible for them. You want to play this shell game that you were CEO or COO or on the board. The point is you were in a position of responsibility. Why didn't you exercise that responsibility? Why didn't you fight the outsourcing? I was fighting General Motors, fighting to keep our jobs here, fighting for the auto industry. Why didn't you fight against the outsourcing?
Well, again, there he goes again. I mean, he's being very consistent at least. I think if he says it enough times, it will become true. I mean, these allegations are just incorrect. That's why I talked about the Michigan Truth Squad and such, as a third-party source of that. I mean, we need to be talking about the jobs of today. The real issue that matters here is we've lost 1 million jobs in Michigan. Let's put Michiganders to work. That's the environment, and I'm the proven job creator in this race.
He doesn't seem to like to specifically answer the charges. He likes to put frosting on it, doesn't he, Rick Snyder?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really want to get into this too much. I mean, the fact is I mean, he's in business to be in business and to create profit. I mean, that's what his job is. And I think for the people at home, which one has had more success? And I think that's what you have to judge this on. Who has had more success in their lives? I mean, Rick Snyder has had a lot of success doing what he does. And maybe he could have focused on that a little bit. You know, I'm not going to shy away from the fact that I was successful in what I did. I mean, anybody in their shoes who wants to make a profit, wants to expand, think of all the companies that he's created, and he's only 3 of them were touched on today, but there were several more. You know, he could have gone into that a little bit, but, you know, he's on defense a bit because Verge Pinero is putting him on the spot. And again, though, I think he did admirably well. I mean, he didn't curl up in a ball. He didn't cry. He didn't stare at the camera like Dick DeVos and go, I mean, I thought he did fairly well here.
So who do we give that round to? That's kind of a draw, isn't it?
It is a draw.
I thought so, because Verge Pinero was, the way he said, where were you? Why didn't you do anything?
He didn't take him up on it.
No. Next round has a very simple question with maybe a complicated answer. Here it is.
Well, I'd like to up along those lines then. Mr. Pinero, how do you create a job?
Well, you set the table for it. That's what government does. That's what I've been doing in Lansing. I have $500 million in new investment in my city. I have cranes in the air. We have a great economic development team. We've laid out the red carpet instead of the red tape. We've cut the bureaucracy. City bureaucracy is down 20%. We've put down the welcome mat for businesses. That's how government can be involved in creating jobs, and we've done it. We're getting results. The proof of the pudding is in the tasting. We have cranes in the air. We have people coming to Lansing. We've laid out the environment, and we need to do that in the state of Michigan. I think I'm the one that's equipped to do that.
Mr. Snyder, how do you create a job?
Well, you don't do it by being in government. Government doesn't create jobs. Government creates an environment where jobs can flourish. I know what it takes to create a job. I've done it many times, and I know what it takes during tough times to keep a company going. One of our companies came to a point where the lights were going to go off, and the other co-founder and I wrote personal checks, talking to our spouses, seeing what we could do to keep that company going. And it later went on to be a success, but it's by that determination. It is hard work to create a job. And let's get our government out of the way. We have the closed for business sign up in Michigan right now. We need the open for business sign.
I think this was one of Rick Snyder's better moments, I think, in the debate. You know, Verge Pinero, when he gets excited, he talks very fast. And I think that's a little off-putting to the folks at home. Rick Snyder was very even keel. I think this was his type of question. I thought he hit it out of the park. I would give this round to Rick Snyder. Suddenly,
the rich guy on the ivory tower, the thought of him writing a personal check to pay the people that were working for him, that brought him back down to somebody that we can understand, eh?
Oh, yeah, because how many small business owners were watching this program tonight saying, hey, I've had to do the same thing? I think it did personalize it a little bit for him. And, you know, if you listen to Verge Pinero's answer, what he's talking about is similar to what Jennifer Granholm has done here in Michigan already. And be it good or bad, but it's creating incentives or offering incentives and tax breaks to bring people into the state. Now, some out there are skeptics, like the Mackinac Center, and some business groups don't like that. They think that's cherry picking. But if you listen to the answer, that's exactly what he's talking about.
Are you surprised that Verge Pinero didn't say, Rick, you didn't vote in 5 of the last 13 elections. Why couldn't you be bothered to vote?
I don't know if the opportunity came up. I think he did miss an opportunity there, not bringing that up. But I don't know if there was a good question where he could have woven that in. But, you know, Verge is a very talented debater. You would think that he would. But I agree. That would have been – I think that was a missed opportunity.
Is it startling that he skipped 5 of 13 elections?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. How many of us have skipped elections for school board or, let's say, a primary? We're up north on vacation. I mean, I missed the primary by a minute because I was up north vacationing. You know, there's a lot of circumstances out there.
But you don't want to be governor.
Oh, that's very true. I'll let these guys try that.
That's the question. Okay, the phones are open at 888-900-9966. We will continue with audio from yesterday's debate. In the meantime, you can go to mirsnews.com, M-I-R-S news.com. Kyle Melinn is the editor. There's loads of coverage, loads of political action. If you don't subscribe, you ought to, because you can get more than you ever asked for in terms of inside politics right there, and we're lucky to have him with us this morning. It's 18 minutes after the hour. Michael Patrick Shields all across Michigan and on Fox 47 television back in 4 minutes.